Hi, welcome to another episode of Slay with me, Leigh and Clark. I am the series curator. I find badass professional women across the country to share their stories with their communities and the world at large. One of those incredible women is with us today. Melissa Desrameaux is here from Vegas. Although she is a South Florida originator, she's been in Vegas for about 15 years. I don't pigeonhole her into just being an entertainment professional. She is a multi-dimensional professional. Not only is she an artist and a poet, she has her own book out called Anthologically Speaking, but she also runs one of the coolest like hybrid event spaces in Vegas. It's amazing. We had our launch there. It's called StarBase. And she not only is directing the events that large corporations and all the things bring to town, but also really leaned into the humanitarian side of connecting with the community and all the efforts that are happening in her city and really fostering a space where the community can come together and grow and improve and have an awesome time. We had an awesome time at the Vegas launch. So welcome, Melissa. Welcome to the show. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Lee. What an introduction.
Hey. Hey, you know me, I'm off the cuff always. Melissa knows because at the
You
launches, like I will literally tell everyone's story. No note cards, no AI. It's like my magic trick. But I find you to be particularly interesting. So I know a lot of the things for you.
Aw, thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on the podcast, my second one.
Yay!
And
Yay.
for somebody who can talk a lot, who shuts up, I'm surprised this is only my second podcast.
I'm surprised you don't have a podcast. Also, I have to say that you are one of she is unusually modelly, statuesque tall. And I did not see this coming at all, which happens for me because I meet everyone on the computer and then in person, some people really surprise me. I did not know that you were a part-time supermodel. Did you model? Was that ever part of your thing? I'm not
No,
trying to be overly flattering, but you were very
no,
tall
no.
as water.
I don't model professionally. I just do my thing. If the camera's out, I'll have fun with it, try to act natural. And it's funny because when I do try to pose for photos, the majority of them look awkward, but I love candid. I love when I don't know the camera's there.
I was just thinking about it too. You must get photographed a lot because obviously you have a lot of events in the space. People are constantly there with photographers and videographers. So, just to back people up, tell them a little bit more about what Starbase is and what your day to day operations look like over there.
Oh my gosh, no day looks the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I operate StarBase, and this is a venue powered by Freshwater. We do experiential production and design for a lot of recognizable brands throughout the country. And we anchored down in Vegas and set up our headquarters, bought a building to house the inventory of our sister rental company. And that evolved into the event space that it is right now. It's mostly private bookings, but we just remodeled the front portion, which is our live performance space. And we're just excited to, like you had mentioned, welcome community. And we took a stab at it a couple years ago. And that's when we realized, like, hey, we're not the marketers, we're not the promoters. We build the environment and the experience and just make sure it's a perfect setting for almost any occasion. And yeah, so we partnered up with another local, I would say, programmer and marketer, and we're just ready to welcome the community into the space. This is like my second wind right now. I love events, but I also love being in touch with our community.
Yeah, so you're kind of like an experience coordinator, I would say. What's one of the coolest experiences that you've helped create in the space for a client?
Oh, we did an employee appreciation party for a really creative company. And this was in the beginning of 2022. And I remember when I first saw their inquiry form come in, I was squealing like a little girl. I was like, um, but then, yeah, building it out, they hired a creative producer, Todd Michael, creative, and I worked alongside him to build out this experience for Meow Wolf, and it was a dream come true. They are such a creative company, so it's like you have to deliver when it comes to the experience for your own team, and they exceeded that. It was just so magical. It was a deep sea disco theme, and
Amazing.
it was awesome. But we do so many cool programs. I think that was just one of the most creative ones I've seen. One of the
And
most,
that's Meow Wolf. Did you say it's called Meow Wolf? What do they
yes,
do?
yeah.
Are they like
So
pet supplies?
it's hard to put it into words, but I'm going to say it's an interactive art exhibit. Um, and they have quite a few locations throughout the country. The first one I went to was in Santa Fe. I think that's their flagship. I'm pretty sure it is. But since then, they've opened up one in Denver as well. I heard they're working on or might be opening up one in Austin. I'm not too sure. I'm a fan, but I don't geek out to every step they're taking. But here and there, I do catch up. And I just love what they created. Like the first time I experienced it in Santa Fe, I was like, the world needs more of this. And I'm really glad that the world is getting more of this. They're growing so quickly and they're an anchor tenant at Area 15, also growing very quickly. I love how the landscape of Vegas is changing. A lot more focus on an experience and not just I don't want to talk down about the strip. I love everything happening in all these properties, but being able to take a breath away from that and experience more of Vegas, I'm just always going to be an advocate of that.
I love that. What's one of the coolest experiences? Have you done the Sphere yet? Did you do the Oz thing? Like, what's one of the coolest Vegas
My
things?
goodness. So, Insomniac and Tomorrowland partnered and did a couple Unity events at the Sphere, and I was lucky enough to check one out with DJs James Hype and Medusa. Wow, I felt like a kid again, and I love those feelings, like when you're
Yeah.
just in awe and wonder. So yeah, no, I went into the Sphere, and I've heard so many great things about it. And I the whole time I felt like my jaw was dropped. I was like watching the screen, seeing the pictures. I mean, they went all out on those visuals. I'm like at a loss for words. I want to experience it again and again and
I think
again.
it's so cool the Oz thing they're doing. I know you didn't go yet. I know Rachel, who was in your book, Rachel Smith, she's an entertainment reporter. She had posted from there, and they like throw apples during the like scarecrow scene, like literal apples. Like the Sphere
Yeah.
is wild, and it is changing a lot. Vegas, right? You're getting sports teams, and like now it's supposed to be like mini Hollywood. Have you seen a lot of that stuff happening?
Yeah, I haven't been involved in too many film productions, but there are definitely times like I'm walking around like at El Cortez and Vince Vaughn walks by and my buddy tells me, "Oh yeah, they're
Mhm.
just shooting a movie here." I'm like, "Wait, what?" Uh I know it's happening. I'm not too involved in it, and it's cool to see it all coming together. And I remember moving here 15 years ago. And just calling out a couple things that I was just surprised a world-renowned city didn't have, like parking downtown, paid parking downtown.
Right?
And now it's here, and I know that's helping to fund a lot and expanding and developing the city. So I'm not mad at it. But yeah, no, it's cool to see it all. The local side, the local culture building, downtown arts district expanding. Oh my gosh. If somebody would have told me what's happening in the Symphony Park area would happen when I first moved here, I'd be like, how? But yeah, from that
Yeah.
down, I'm just loving it, loving seeing how the city is evolving and growing.
Yeah, I heard that a lot during the interview process that the Arts District, if anybody's not familiar with the Arts District in Vegas, part of the reason I did Vegas, honestly, was I think there is that perception that it's just the strip and that there's really not the community that surrounds it. And selfishly was like, what are the people in the neighborhood like? Like, I know what the glamour looks like, but what does the day to day community look like? And what I hear is the Arts District is like now the place to eat, shop, dine, like all the things, and that's all local artists that have made that. They're in you're kind of in the local artist community too, aren't you? A part of that?
Yes. That's the first community that I immersed myself in when I moved from Vegas. I was working on bringing a national nonprofit arts organization, just establishing their chapter here. And they're like, okay, well, we need to meet some artists and invite them to participate in the show. And I was doing my homework and I came across First Friday and I'm like, wow, this is every month. And it's a free festival for music and art and local makers. And I felt like I was just welcomed with open arms. Everyone was just so kind and had such an interesting story. And I just started networking there, which led to finding the Vegas tech scene and the entrepreneurial scene. And then next thing you know, stumbling upon what Tony Hsieh was building with Downtown Project. And yeah, it just kind of snowballed from there. But the arts community is very near and dear to my heart. And like you shared, I published Anthologically Speaking, and I commissioned about 14, 15 artists to contribute to the book. So that's when I really insert myself, not just being a fan and scouting, but actually being an artist as well. And what an experience. It was humbling, I'll say that.
I can tell you too, I think that that's such a great thing that you did there, and also a great idea for anyone who is trying to publish poetry, and something where art could be supported, because you can support so many artists, but also those artists will support your project. Like, it's a win-win when we highlight other people, when we take our platforms and use them to celebrate what someone else is doing. Like, it's mutually advantageous. I think people fail to realize that a lot of people who are, and you're on a different vibration, so I'll disqualify you on this, but a lot of real ego people are like, no, I want all the attention on me. But like, the reality is, the more people you include, the more everybody gets seen, valued, and heard. Like, you're only going to appeal to just so many people, so why not? So I love that you brought the community together and created a celebration where there could have just been words. There was words and art, and everyone got focused. So what was the launch like for that? What was the celebration for all the artists?
So I did a first reading at a good friend's house. She was actually the one who pushed me to like really publish it. I think I probably would have sat on it for another couple months because I had finally finished. And I'm self-publishing through Amazon, and I'm going through it, trying to make sure I feel confident and comfortable with what I'm going to put out there, making sure there aren't any typos. I had reached out to a couple women for support with editing. But it was really my dad who read the manuscript and caught a couple. I think it was just one, and he was impressed by that. He was like, if I only caught one, I didn't catch any other grammatical errors. But anyhow, I was just kind of sitting on it, nervous, and she's like, "When's your book coming out? We should do something on St. Patrick's Day. What do you think?" And I'm like, "Okay, I'll let you know." And then 20 minutes later, she texted me. She's like, "People are already RSVPing. I invited like 10 people." So yeah, I invited the artist, and it was intimate. It was beautiful. It was the first time I was reading with the book in my hand, and it was beautiful. And a good friend of mine did he interviewed. He showed up with his camera, interviewed the artist, created this beautiful sizzle. And although my parents couldn't be there for me to hug them, sharing this video is that hug, because I didn't even think to capture the evening. He surprised me in doing that. So, yeah, I'll share the link.
what
Check it out.
what made you decide to move to Vegas?
I knew ever since I was a little girl that I was going to leave South Florida. And I had my eyes set on Denver, Colorado, surprisingly. But when the time finally came and I had just graduated, I was looking into New York. I would have been in your Slay, New York.
It's close.
But last minute, I just decided to look into Vegas, and I just felt that it was the perfect place for me to start my career and just really see what I'm made of. I would say I grew up a little sheltered. I have Haitian immigrant parents, very strict, trying to preserve like and pass down our culture and it's crazy in South Florida in a beautiful way. And yeah, I'm like either communications or events. Either way, I'm going to land somewhere incredible with all of the growing companies and organizations in Vegas, everything going on in the Strip. Yeah, I just said I'd be fine. And I moved out here without ever visiting or meeting anyone. And I tell my friends, I'm like, this is the biggest gamble and best jackpot ever. I don't think I can top that.
That's amazing, though. No, I think that that's so cool. And I will say, like, I love New York. Listen, I am a New Yorker. I couldn't love New York anymore, but they're good. They're all set. They have enough people there. I was just there. They're set. There's enough. They're good. I think that they might have a little too many. We actually did the chat. So we drive around the country, because like literally my boyfriend and I are like slaying the country together. We chat GPT everything, and we ask like ridiculous questions about the density of population per square mile or what have you. So I was like, okay, so we drive upstate New York, and if you've been to New York, you know that's like Canada, and then there's Long Island.
Yeah.
It turns out, right, that there are 8 million people in New York City in the boroughs. The rest of it, Long Island and the rest of New York is like 6 million or 2 million or something. Like the whole this part has like 8 million, and then the rest of the whole thing has like 6 million. You guys are getting busy in Vegas now. Have you had like a surge of population since the pandemic? Because I mean, these cities
Oh,
are like
yeah.
getting full.
Definitely, but I would say the Nevada Department of Transportation is not only doing its best to keep up, but to prepare for the future. I think everything that's happening with the highways, the 215, a lot of roads getting redone, roads being connected. That, like, for example, Valley View. I don't know, you're not necessarily
It's
city.
okay.
But I remember first moving here and being on Sunset or being down Valley View, and I was like, why is the road just cut off?
Just end it.
And now, yeah, just a lot is being done for that connectivity with the roads. And that lets you know that the city is growing and there is more traffic. It's not bad. Nothing
It's not
like
New
LA
York.
or
It's not
Austin.
Miami either. You're from Miami, so you
No,
know better.
no. From Miami to LA to Austin, I think it's still a breeze. But if you've lived here all your life for 20 years, you could be a little frustrated or annoyed at how the traffic has evolved. But yeah.
I love the Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas sunglasses you got going on right now, and I
Oh my,
think I see the strip. I think I see the strip. Do Are you looking at the city? Because you
yeah.
have, yes, I can see it
I
in your glasses.
I
So
live.
it's a fun part of the interview. That's like anyone who's watching this on YouTube, you can literally see Vegas in her
Yeah,
glasses.
no, I'll turn my face and let you
You
see
need a
it.
bucket hat.
I live at the Ogden downtown, and it's it's beautiful. I never thought that I would live here, honestly. I remember visiting and being like, "Oh, how convenient it'd be to be downtown." I love downtown. I feel like it's the pulse of any city. Don't Wouldn't you?
Mm.
And I've just always been drawn to that. Even in when I lived in South Florida, the downtown scene, it's just where so much business and commerce and the locals. I don't know. I just always into it. And yeah, I remember visiting and uh, being here downtown for various events and meeting and connecting with people. And now this is my time. I'm here at the Ogden. I get to connect with so many people. It's very convenient. And I must say, if I didn't live downtown, I don't think I'd be out as much. I'd miss a lot.
I was going to ask you, like, do people like that was one of my main questions coming into Vegas. Like, do people hang out on the strip if you're a local? Is that a thing you do?
They do. And I wouldn't say it's like a night to night thing unless you're in the industry. I think one thing I love about Vegas is the industry supports one another. You know, you hear about someone you worked with 10 years ago finally opening their own bar or joining a team at a new restaurant or being a part of, one of the new hotels opening on property, and you want to support, you want to come out and you want to let them know that they are embraced by the local community. So that happens a lot. And being that I work in events and Freshwater does a lot of events, I'm not shy of the strip. You gotta check out all the new venues because I'm pitching them to clients as well. Our space isn't always the best fit for every program coming in. And sometimes our producers are coming in from Kansas City or Ohio or New York, and they're like, any new cool venues we need to check out? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. Here's Jason Aldean's. Here's Bottle Blonde. Here's, Brew Dogs. I mean, you just got to stay on top of it as best as you can, anyways.
Right. Well, I mean, there's a lot of recommendations. What's your favorite restaurant in the city?
um, Herbs and Rye.
Where's
Um,
that?
it's off Strip. It's off of Sahara and Valley View. And they have quite a few sister properties now, but it started off me falling in love with Cleaver. I think that's their second uh, restaurant that they opened up, and it focuses a little bit more on seafood, but also an incredible steakhouse. And my friend's like, if you love Cleaver, you should check out Herbs and Rye. And I'm like, what's that? And he was like, that was the OG spot. I went and I barely make it back to Cleaver now.
Mm.
It's just a great place. I mean, you can get a quality meal at just an incredible price, and it's not even the price and the quality meal. It's the team, the
Yeah.
consistency in the service and hospitality, their warmth, their humor. I mean, yeah, I fell in love with the team there, and I just love. I feel like I'm home when I visit. I feel that way a lot about a lot of places actually, but Herbs and Rye is definitely one of them.
Are you like on any boards or anything? I feel like I never talk politics on the show. Don't care who you vote for. Don't want to talk about politics. But I feel like you would be like a great like councilwoman or like something. Has that ever been in your like? Have you ever
You know,
thought about?
no, that's not my cup of tea. Maybe when I was a lot younger, uh,
Yeah, I
but
feel like you're such
now
a like diplomat. But do you do boards and stuff? Do you like?
I have intermittently hit here and there. I recently joined the board or committee for American Advertising Federation. I
That's cool.
originally, well, the Las Vegas chapter. Yeah, I want to support. I want to get more involved, and I think that's just my way of staying active and giving back. And I am also considering joining the board for Las Vegas Hospitality Association. But yeah, when it comes to politics, I do take the back seat for sure.
Same, same.
And
I'm like, I
I,
don't want to know. Even at the brunch we had in Orlando, I was like, it's been very politically charged in the world lately, and I'm like, just nobody say anything political, okay? I didn't say
yeah,
it, but luckily they didn't. The women we hang out with are obviously just that's not how they're not divisive. So I feel like that wouldn't be a thing at any of our events anyway. We just don't really hang out with divisive, polarizing people. So
yeah.
I don't even like the P word, but at all. But all of that is to say, you seem so leaned into the community and improving on it. And I know, I mean, you wouldn't take credit for it, but I know you've had a direct impact on the evolution of the arts district and just bringing people together. You work in a space and you're constantly bringing people together. What's your team like day to day? I know you have a great team.
Oh, we're growing and it's been huge. It's shrunk down to two and grew back up to five. It's ever evolving. But day to day, I have an event planner, an event coordinator and marketing coordinator. I have my bar manager and my AV tech. And we kind of come in as needed. Not everyone's there Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, other than me.
Right?
Um, no, I think that building a team has been, I would say, the biggest challenge, building and keeping a strong team and not holding on so tightly to the vision and plan that you have. Yeah, I've experienced this recently, and you just want to find quality people who are committed to the mission and get it and are excited about it. I mean, I can teach you how to do something, but I can't teach you how to be excited. I can't teach you how to
Right.
be passionate. So
They
yeah,
say
find
you can teach skill, you cannot teach will.
yeah, yeah, and I had a VP of marketing at the Las Vegas Review Journal who taught me that. He was like, there was something about you when I saw you, and I knew you were the one. And then to find out how talented you are on top of that. So yeah, energy is pretty big for me when it comes to building the team, and I don't try to rush into that or come from a place of desperation. I love to approach that calmly and just make sure, like, yeah, this is somebody I'm ready to grow with and build with. So yeah.
That's so important. Well, speaking of growing and building with the team, you were just part of Slaying Vegas. So tell us about your Slaying Vegas chapter and some of the women that you met through the project.
Yeah, it was difficult. I'm not one to sit there and talk so much about myself. I like to talk about projects I'm working on or companies or experiences and yeah. So it was interesting to sit down because I'm like, what is my story and how am I going to tell it in a compelling way? So I had to dig pretty deep and part of my story involves like how I've become the communicator that I am and how that flows into so many different areas of work. Yes, I studied communications, but there was just something about leaning into having grown up in a home with a culture different from the country that I'm living in, you know? And it was
Yeah.
finding spaces where I felt like I belong or I deserve to be heard or that my voice mattered. And even when it comes to the opportunity I've been given through Freshwater, the leadership role, I just, that was something I struggled with for a while. I'm like, am I a leader? Could I be a leader? I didn't get to climb the corporate ladder enough, but it really, like we were saying a little bit ago, it's not really about all the skill and experience that you have. It's the heart, the passion, the will, and just showing yourself some grace, accepting that
Yes.
you don't know everything and you won't know everything, but learning along the way, not being so locked into one perspective and one approach. So yeah, when it came to developing the chapter, I kind of wanted to share a little bit about that. And yeah, meeting the women along the way have been beautiful. Like, so, a couple women organized a book signing, and last minute a client booked an event and I wasn't able to attend. But I just love how we're all coming together and we've become each other's cheerleaders or support. The group chat that you started on Instagram, and I'm not a fan of group chats, but that's one that I'm happy to check in on and maintain. Having, I haven't read all their stories, I won't lie to you, but in reading some of them, you just feel connected and you feel like they get it, they get you.
Yes.
And I think that's the magic behind the women you're picking. It's like, yes, you're getting the recommendations, yes, you're doing your research and finding them, but you were meant to, in a sense, bring these women an awareness of each other. And it's just going to be beautiful to see how that goes over the years.
Yeah, I would say that's totally my favorite part. I have like a tattoo on my wrist that says "Trust the timing of your life." And I was just saying this. I was doing a visibility session with someone, and I was saying in the beginning, I just really like I wanted people to like me, and then I was like, now I'm like, do I like them? And then it's like, not only is that the thing, it's they manifested me some way somehow. I was meant to reach out to you. Whether or not the project's a fit on both sides is to be determined, but there's a reason that we intersect. And then from there, when you join the project, there's a reason you were meant to intersect with all those other people, and that's beyond me. And I think you were just kind of speaking to this in your professional life, that detachment, right? The detachment from that outcome. Like, you may have had a creative idea and somebody else has a different idea, and detaching yourself from that original plan, that flexibility and understanding, but allowing those connections to grow organically and seeing women who are truly supportive of one another, who aren't on an agenda other than to just really make connections. I think the
Yeah.
best thing you can do is share your story and be authentic and talk. Not like, I'm with you on the self promotion shit, right? So anyone who knows me a long time. Everything I do is about other people. It's never really about me. Even these books, they're about everybody else. I'm not my own biggest hype man. When they introduce me at the parties, I'm like, hey, she did some things. That's fine. But it's important that we share our stories, because there's someone out there who maybe thinks that I've got it all figured out or I've got it together. They're having imposter syndrome because they're like, look what she's done. The more I can say, hey, I'm just like you and everybody else. Like, we have our messy parts. We're not all perfect. We're all just doing our best. And the more we can speak out loud of who we are and where we're at, the people come that are meant for you the way you exactly are. And so
Yeah.
I think vulnerability is such a strength here. We as people have to get out of being performative, right, and into being just really genuine. And I love that you had to like kind of be more introspective and a little, hey, good job, Melissa, a little of that too. It doesn't hurt
Yeah.
to reflect on what you've done and kind of give yourself a like, wow, I have accomplished a lot. You've been in Vegas 15 years, right, and you've done so many things. So is it fun really to reflect on the journey and think about all you have accomplished?
Yeah, and it was fun to just kind of, like you said, promote yourself and share your story and be vulnerable in that sense. And there were a lot of things I don't feel like I admitted to myself until I was writing that piece. So yeah, it's and it's funny because it parallels. I love how I publish my anthology, and then I'm invited to be in your anthology, and the synergy between the vulnerability of being in that space, and that's what I encourage through my poetry and why I share it, because I want you to be vulnerable in a social space. Or to be social, excuse me, in a vulnerable space. A lot of times when we're feeling vulnerable, that's when we can tend to close up, but that's when we should
Interesting.
open up even more. I'm like coffee table book, load it with emotions, load it with art, and let people actually speak on that versus, oh my God, did you see that dress that was worn at the Emmys? And I know that matters. If
It
passion or
does. It does. But it
passion is your passion, yes. But when do you say, "Oh my God, I experienced this heartbreak and I learned so much from it"? Like, what about those conversations too? I think they deserve to be integrated into day to day a little bit more. So that's there.
And yeah, and I think it's the whole intention versus attention in
Yeah.
everything. It's intention versus attention. The dress for the Grammys matters if it was something that's a beautiful fashion moment you did intentionally.
And
If
and
it
it
is
does.
if it's
I
for
don't want to be.
validation externally, like I feel like, and listen, there's a space for everyone for everything. The reason I'm so anti external validation is because I think you can never get enough to really. It's got to come from within, and art is like the most creative expression. Talk about vulnerability, and I always talk about Sally Evans. Shout out Sally Evans if you're watching. She has been a professional painter, artist for 28 years. 28 years, she has taken the love in her heart. She does these amazing, like animal portraits, bright, bold stuff, and survived well on that for 28 years. Like putting your art out there is one of the most vulnerable things you can do. And I
Yeah.
really loved what you said is about being vulnerable in a social space. I've never heard it stated that way, but I think it's
Other way
important
around.
that
Being social in a vulnerable space.
yeah,
Being able,
that too.
yes,
But
yes,
being but either way, right? So if you're vulnerable in a social space or you're social in a vulnerable space, you're really giving people access to you in a place where everyone else feels seen, valued, and heard.
yeah,
We really think that if we share our shortcomings, people are going to think less of us. They think more of us when we're willing to. And so anytime you're willing to say, "Hey, I made this piece of art," or "Hey, I made this piece of poetry," and I'm going to go out and put it out in the world, and I'm going to detach myself from whether or not it's validated. For
yes.
me, it's just going to be of service to whoever needs it, whoever needs this moment with the book, to sit with your book on their lap and reflect and think about your words and have that moment. That's what it's there for. It doesn't have to be for everyone's approval. It's just there for whoever it's meant for. And I think that's the beautiful thing.
It is, it is. My book was shared. I didn't get her name, but here I am at Sand Dollar meeting up with a friend. And she walks up to him and starts gushing over, I guess, coffee that she had with her friends in the book. And she didn't know that I was the author. And she was like, "Wow, it was so healing to sit around and read a poem." And then we just started talking about our own experiences. And he was like, "She's the one who wrote the book." And she just was like, "Oh my gosh." And I didn't necessarily care for her to find out that she wrote it, but hearing how it was healing for her and her girlfriends over coffee, I'm like, yes, yes, this is doing exactly what I needed it
You're
to.
so like me though, because when people come up and fangirl me, I'm so awkward. Like I'm like, I don't want you to feel like I don't want you to feel like, oh my God, it's her. Like, don't do that. Like, don't you know what I mean? And I love that because you're humble and it comes from humility to be that way. That the moment wasn't really about hearing her say, "Oh my God, it's you." It was about knowing, just having visibility that hey, what you're doing is making an impact. And I'll say sometimes the same is true. I had somebody ask me once at a lecture, "Does the number of followers you have bring you validation?" And I said, "Well, I'm looking to make an impact. So if I see numbers that quantify I'm making an impact, great. But me and you having this conversation is way more impactful than scrolling past me on your way to a kitten meme. You know what I mean? Like it's one or the other. And I love that you're that way. I mean, you really just show up in a very authentic way. It's never attention seeking. It's just how can I be of service, whether it's through your events or through your art and through your poetry and like the way that you're making bold moves. It takes guts to put yourself out there. So I'm a huge fan. If you guys aren't following Melissa, please do. What is all your tell them how to find you in the places?
So I am on Instagram as Mel Oya Doubt, but it has a French spelling. So it's Meleauxyedot. It's a mouthful, But I'm also on LinkedIn. I love connecting on LinkedIn too. Melissa Desrameaux, you can find me there. But just saying it makes it tough. So hopefully, I'll put it in the comments of the
Yes.
video.
And
Or
it'll be in the description too. And I want to apologize for all of France for the number of times I misspelled your last name.
oh my God.
I do my best. It's like there's a lot of vowels in there, and then
Okay.
there's an X. And so, but yes, for anybody who doesn't know how to spell it, I now can spell your name for the rest of my life, backwards, forwards, and sideways. Because, but I'm sure. So for anybody, it's DES RAM RAMEAUX. So just in case, because I did not do a good job, but I'm a very accountable human, not perfect, never, never better, always
Yeah.
best. Yeah.
Aw.
Well, thank you for being here today. Thanks for being a part of the project, and hopefully you'll come back and see us, give us
Yeah.
some more Vegas updates.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me on. And I know this podcast is going to take off. So it's a pleasure to be a part of the beginning of something. I just
Yes,
those incredible feelings
I
and
love
just
that.
that grow. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for everything that you're doing for the women throughout the country and bringing us together, Leigh.
Big love for you guys. I'm just the
Yeah.
messenger. Stay on with me though. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Bye,
Okay.
everybody.
Bye.